Christian Science like actually based on like Christianity, or what is it? Is it really based on Christian values? If so, count me in. Count me in, daddy. That's how some Spanish will be. I'm about to be cured. Stub toe. We be stubby. Stubby cone? Stubby toes? I just realized I didn't lube the housings. My bad. That's my bad, you know. Cake, 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 cake. Let me eat your cake, 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 cake. Ooh wee, la 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 la. Ooh wee, la 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 la. All right, we're done with stabs. Okay, we're gonna pull up Steam. We're gonna give away the gay stuff. Okay. Traditional Chinese medicine. Listen, I am all for traditional Chinese medicine. I am all inclusive of everyone. Okay, I'm all inclusive. Okay. Traditional trash can. Saw those juicy grippers. Sorry, I'll remove. Look at Jesse Zoom. I love that song. I love that song. I love that song. Zoom. We're gonna zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay. Post here. Jesse Zoom. Okay. And we're gonna pull up marbles. Okay. We're gonna pull up marbles. I see you looking at my BIC. Oh my god, my eyes are itchy. Okay. I see you looking at my PIC. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. You can stretch it. Hello? You can stretch it out. We're stretching. All right. We're gonna see if marbles is on. Okay. Try to tell the juicy gripper. I'll remove that legit fan tag. What do you mean? Oh, about the roommate? Okay, you know what? You can remove that. You can just remove it because the hate, frankly, is crazy. No, I do not want them to make changes. It's launching. Okay, it's launching. I had your hand and feet feel cold. Eat mango, you feel better. My hand and feet are cold because I'm anemic, sis. Okay, is that a problem? It's called anemia, mother. Okay, marbles. We're gonna give away gay, transgender, bisexual, cannon keys, pride cloth. If y'all don't know what it is, I will show you, okay? What the fuck happened? Why is it all, there's no time on these? Should I do this? Should I do buckshot? I like this one. All right, if y'all don't know what this looks like, pride cloth. Cannon Keys is doing a microfiber pride cloth, okay? And I'm gonna be giving these away, okay? Let's see. Where is it? Webcam? Where's the webcam? Website, right here. This is what it looks like, okay? So I'm gonna be giving these away, okay, for the rest of Pride Month. Is that okay? Is that okay with you? Okay, marbles time. Marbles time. Starsky! Exclamation play! Thank you very much, Starsky. Hello.
Play.
Okay, I'm gonna also join. Okay. Oh god, my nose be drippy. I'd be drippy, okay. Exclamation play, everyone. Okay. Okay. Isn't Lee like the most used name ever? Is Lee the most common last name? Is that what it is? Is that really what it is? Okay, what's happening? Lots of Asian Lees. Are there a lot of Asian Lees? Do I spell it L-I? L-I is how they spell it in the mainland. But wait, is this the wrong way? Okay, this is the wrong way. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna be doing this as well. Okay, I'm gonna do 88 seconds until it starts. Okay, and then after our typing test, we're gonna give away another one. Okay, let's see. Hello, keyboard father. Welcome in. How are you, father? Can we get an Instagram shout out to the keyboard father? The father himself has a ribbon. The father himself has a ribbon. Christians murder a lot of people, I'll have you know. Really? Do you have proof? Were you there? Were you there? Did you see it with your own eyes? Emiphobia? The hate, honestly, is frankly just crazy. It's frankly, my dear, it's crazy. Oh shit. Oh, what was I gonna say? Mommy, do you want this to be O-ring mounted? Or do you want this to be, how do you want this? How do you like it? How do you want your egg? Do you want this to be O-ring or do you want this to be top? Do you want a top or do you want an O-ring? I need to know right now. Okay, 30 more seconds, okay. Hello, keyboard father, keep daddy. Satur is like a goat man. Is it really a goat man? So like they were furries, really. Like the furries were like right about everything. Head, yeah. Memories follow me left and right. Oh, good. See, Uskadi ta Tatsuna ETA. Oh, boss ETA. Wait. Oh my god. I remember this because people were accusing. Oh my god, this is crazy. This is crazy. I remember when people were accusing New Jeans of supporting terrorism because their song was called ETA, and like one of their teasers was like had the names of like the Basque freedom people. Remember? Do y'all remember that? Oh my god, this is all coming back to me. And they were driving, and it was car bombs, and because they were driving like, what's your ETA? And they were like, babe. It was like, that was crazy. Oh my god, the lore. Like, New Jeans terrorism? Like, you know, it's possible. It's possible, you know. PD Bang was setting them up. PD Bang set them up, you know. Anyway, what's happening? Wait, she's on the call. Everyone talk. Zoom in, zoom out. I see you looking at me, Keeb. Feel like $1 million must be $1 million. Did Liam win? He might fall off though. Did he win? Oh my god, look at him. He's pulsing. Look at him pulsing. Look at Liam pulsing. Look at this man. Is he gonna win? Liam lost! Oh my god, Lydia! Oh my god, my gay twin, Lydia! Do you clam? Oh my god, my gay twin, Lydia, do you clam? Clam, congratulations! My gay twin, Lydia, is here and totally rigged. You're only allowed to win if you're named Lydia as well. Congratulations, Lydia. Congrats. If one of my mods can DM Lydia the form, the Twitch, on Twitch, the form for the, you know, the form for the, you know what I mean? I think I might have to Milmax 2 more holes. Is that okay? Is it okay if I Milmax 2 more holes? Congratulations, Lydia. You know, you are superior. That's just like point blank period, you know, like no one can compete. No one compares to you. Okay. All right. Is this like kind of loose or whatever, but it's fine. Okay. Congrats. Okay. Yes. Yes, please allow or check your Twitch whispers for the form. Thank you very much, Cox Cumbra, my beloved. Okay, thank you. All of my lovers are just so supportive. Okay. I feel like $1 million must be that $1 million. Who sang that? Feel like $1 million must be the $1 million. Who said that? Is that from a song? Is that from his latest comeback? Let's see about Namjoon. Mango slapping though. Buckshot fucks. Oh, you like buckshots? Buckshot sounds like some kind of sex term. Not gonna lie. Okay. Activation rules. Hello. Control shift cell. Welcome in. Okay, we're plugging this in. We're plugging. Okay, we're plugging. Listen, buddy, we're being plugged. Frankly, I think I need to. I don't know if Mummy's here. Mummy, can you tell me? Mummy, can you tell me if you want O-ring? I guess I'll Milmax these 2 sockets too, because if you want to put in that thing that does the blocker, or does that work? I think you might need to cut. You might need to like cut it actually, the top part. Okay, let me try this. Though I don't know how well it's gonna work because I already put in the fucking switches. Should we plug? Should I? Okay. I just overcomplicated this for myself. I really did. Okay. I guess we put that there and then we just go for it. We swang in. Do you need this though? Actually, I don't think you even need this. Do you need this? Actually, I'm gonna see if it works without it. I don't know if you need this actually. Let's see. We gotta plug in. We gotta plug in the switches. Okay. I forgot our Deem giveaway. Yes, I'm gonna be doing another gay giveaway at the end. So don't worry. Fear not. You know, fear not, my children. Anyway, back to the Greek lore about Zeus. You know, I heard he's an awful misogynist. Can we call Zeus a misogynist? Was he a misogynist? According to all the historians, you know, did he hate women? Did he hate women? Let's see. I don't know. Yes, Starsky. Did we get a shout out to Starsky? Shiloh is like testing his keyboard or something. What is happening? Let's see. Oh shit. KBD plugged in. KBD fans. Okay. Plugging. We're plugging in. Okay. Lovely. Okay. We are inserting. Capping a board. What's capping? Oh, you're capping a board. You're capping. Okay. Makes sense. Expansion speed, remember that? Listen, I gotta hydrate. I gotta do push-ups at some point. Okay. All right. Plug. We're plugging, okay? Plugged in for marbles. Damn, I missed it. I'm sorry, Stubby. Stubby, we'll be doing another one. Do not, fear not. There's a lot of gay to go around. Oh, fuck, I shouldn't have plugged this. I shouldn't have inserted this one. Lots of gay to go around. Fear not, my loves. I think I want to O-ring mount this. I think I'm gonna O-ring mount it. Is that okay? Is that okay with y'all? I still don't know what the fuck deathmatch I'm gonna use. Oops, rig. Let him pulsate in private. Private. I just said pulsate in private. I love the word pulsating and throbbing. Two of my favorite English words, honestly. Just makes me feel some type of way, you know, not because it's like inappropriate or whatever, you know. I love throbbing and pulsating, you know. Well, congrats, GZ. I'm second. Earl is here. Can we get a shout out to Earl, the stoner switch keyboard fidgeter? Hello, Earl. What lovely teas did you drink today? I really only drink bottled tea and just from like fucking tea bags and shit, you know? I do apologize for my heresy. Okay, I truly do apologize, okay? Sweet, I wasn't even in it. This is incest. Question, if you marry someone with your same name, is that incest? I have a question. Your Honor, is it incest if you fuck someone with your own? Have y'all had sex with someone your own name? Have you guys dated someone with their own name? Isn't that kind of weird? It is kind of like, it is kind of weird though. Like you're moaning your own name? I don't know. I don't think I could not date another Lydia. I do apologize. I do apologize to everyone with my name, but it just goes too far, frankly. It's a little too far for me. You know, I'm okay with a lot of things, you know, like furry sex, bestiality. No, I'm not. Isn't that illegal? Isn't bestiality illegal? It's like illegal, right? GG, please whisper Lydia's with a push-up. Yes, I do need to do push-ups. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for unnecessarily reminding me. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Should we try to O-ring mount this? Should we try to O-ring? Should we try to O-ring? Should we try to O together? I'm gonna O. I'm gonna come. Okay, anyway, what's happening? Remember push-ups. Yes, I will do push-ups at some point. Okay. This is the board. I'm surprised there's nothing on this. Did they say there was gonna be nothing on this because you can like customize it or whatever? Is this like a customization choice? It better be. You better engrave something on here, honey. You better engrave something. Plugging, we're plugging in. I feel like $1 million must be the $1 million. It's a song in that lyric, Jesse. Classic Lydia trying to skip steps. Insty, don't. I've never skipped steps. What are you talking about? I wouldn't call Zeus a feminist. Why wouldn't you? What's your basis? What's your basis? Your PhD. Listen, this is really strange. You know what's really strange? Look at the feet placement on this board. Focus. Why is it not focusing? Wait. Oh, there you go. You know what's weird? What? It's not focusing well. Okay, there. Look at the feet. Like, why are there? We don't need these though. It's a 60%. Why are there divots for feet here? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna put feet here. I just need the four corners. Like, this is for like a fucking real long, like fucking Jack Picate's board needs fucking middle feet. But I don't think we need middle feet for this one. Absurd, frankly. Absurd, Your Honor. Absurd. Is it throbbing? Is it throbbing Thursday? Double day? Hello, it is throbbing Thursday. Okay, so what would we call Monday? Moaning Monday. What would be Tuesday called? Tuesday would be Tribbing Tuesday. No, I don't know if that's good. No. Wednesday would be what would it be? Wednesday? Okay, throbbing. Okay, Freaky Friday is like, okay, I need to come up with this. Monday would be like moaning Monday, yeah. But like, I don't know what the rest of the days would be. Thrusting Tuesday, yes, thrusting Tuesday. We need to come up with more though. We need to start cooking. Moaning Monday and throbbing Tuesdays. That's when I stream, okay? All right, time to plug this in. I don't know if we need to flash this. If we do, I will end myself right here. You know what? I hate flashing. I hate flashing. Okay, I hate any kind of flashing related to keyboards. I like the other kind of flashing though. Okay. All right, let's do this. Unscrew the switch. Bicep switch. What's bicep switch? What's a bicep switch? Is that a switch? Is that a switch? What does that mean? I don't understand. Incest? Oh no, you said something else. Sorry. Love yourself. And the times that you rain on my parade. Where do I find a girl named Frank? I bet there are girls named Frank. Frank Shoney's Frank. Many in Norway. There's a lot of girls named Norway. I mean, sorry. There's a lot of girls named Frank in Norway. Is that true? Your Honor, is that true? Your Honor, is that cap? There are girls named, is that like Francesca or something? Like Francesca? Let's see, narcissistic orgasms, very meta. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you agree with me, very meta. Taylor Larissa was related to Taylor. I think Taylor Lautner is kind of weird. I think he has a thing for dating Taylors. Because it's very hard to date someone with your name. And then you go and marry someone with your name too, you know? Isn't that just masturbating at that point? O-ring, how is O-ring an auto-modded term? How was O-ring that just means we don't talk about keyboards, like, ever on this stream. If O-ring is a fucking auto-modded term, that means we are not discussing keyboards. And I've built several O-ring boards, okay? O-ring does sound sexual. O-ring sounds very sexual. There's a lot of keyboard terms that sound very sexual, you know? If you're just be talking, you know, you just be like, this should be very sexual. All right, here we go. We're gonna O-ring mount this, okay? We're gonna O-ring mount it. Plug, and O-ring. And we still gotta determine what keycaps we wanna use, and I gotta do push-ups, even though I'm like weak as fuck. Like my body is frail, I'm failing. I need to I literally need to be put in a hospice. Is this like dual mount or something? Is this dual mount? Like, do we need to mount it both ways? Is this like some dual mount thing? Because when I type on this, it's like kind of like, maybe we need to dual mount? Maybe I dual mount it. I'm gonna try dual mounting. I'm gonna try dual mounting. Okay. But that means I gotta take this off. Okay. Okay. Oh god. Dual mounting, that sounds sexual. I kissed someone with the same surname as me, but we have a common Norwegian surname. I don't know your surname. I have never encountered that information ever in my entire life, actually. Let's see. My partner has a rare surname. Only his family now has a surname. Some ancestors even moved to America, and there's now a small place named after his surname. Now I want to know what the surname is. Now I want to know what surname your partner has, okay? Your partner? You like gay or something? You're like a homo or something? You have a partner? Anyway. I say partner, you know, you know, not because I'm gay or anything. Not because, absolutely not. Thrustin' Tuesday, throbbing. I've seen many men. I mean, my cousin is called Frank. You were born on the same day, not year. I love that. I love that for you. You're an August baby too. You're an August baby too. I remember. Listen, the North remembers. The North remembers. Okay, I really hope that this is not like sagging or whatever, okay? Listen, what's happening? Thrusting Thursday, flashing Fridays, blast some nips, nipple blasters in chat. We're blasting nipples. Okay, man, I quote that no one ever knows the quote. What are you quoting? Blast my nips? What do you mean? Sorry, you missed out the girls part? What do you mean? Is blasting nips the quote? What do you mean? Riz me up a Norwegian franc? Oh wait, Emiphobia just messaged me. I will not say what this is though. What is it? Oh, I've literally never heard of that surname before. Wang? I've never heard of that. It's like, I think it's actually one of the least common surnames ever. My friend just messaged me randomly. I really want to try ketamine, just randomly. Anyway, I almost read that out loud. Well, I did read it out loud, actually. You know what? Okay, anyway. Plugging this in. Okay, there. Okay. Okay, I hope this works. We're gonna see and try and see if this works, okay? Kiwi switches, welcome in. Hello. Yes, this is the ladybird. This is PCB work. Okay, it does work. It does work. But why is this key not working? Oh, it is working. Are these just not like, what's going on? Is this key not working? Did I plug it? Okay, I think, okay, overall this is working. Overall this is working. We're gonna screw it in. We're gonna screw it in. Where are the screws? They are here. Okay. Frank is kind of old people name though. Like very few people born after 1985 named Frank. I think old traditional names are coming back though. Theodore, Emir, Helmer. It's like Elmer's glue, like Helmer, but Elmer. Well, he's cis boy, but partner sounds so much better than boyfriend. Boyfriend feels 16 years old. So is that the thing now? People are now. Do you guys prefer using like boyfriend, girlfriend, or do you guys prefer using partner? Or is there like a certain year cutoff where you think you should use partner, or like if you've been dating for like a year, you're like, okay, that's my partner now. That's not just my boyfriend or girlfriend. That's my partner now. Or do you just start using, or if you like, you start dating someone and immediately you call them partner. I get like, I think like if you just start dating them, it makes more sense to be like girlfriend or boyfriend. But you know, I'm not the arbiter. I'm not the decision maker and arbiter on that particular issue. Is this switch not working? Is this switch not working? Okay. Let me see. I think this is via boyfriend. I have the same B-day as my uncle in August. Hello? Wait, you're also in August, baby? I am August 7th. I'm an August 7th, baby. Let's see. Blossom Nips is from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. See, I never watched that show. I never watched that show ever. I think, oh, hold on. This is the only one I know, the only what is it? Avo 5 stream streak. Look, see, I watch. Avo? Isn't Kim streaming right now? What are you doing in my stream? As her mod, like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing here? You need to calm down. You need to calm down. You need to go back to your country. Go back to your country, okay? You don't belong here. This is America. You need to go back to your country, is what you need to go, okay? Is that okay for me to say? I can say that. People have said that to me, you know? I'm very, you know, I embrace all cultures and peoples, you know? All right, what's happening? What is happening? Oh my God, you know, I wish I could go back to my country. I wish my country embraced me. Anyway, okay. Is this okay? Are we good? I think we're good, right? Okay, there you go, buddy. Okay, Earl. Yes, thank you for the shout out to Earl. Hello, I use waifu. You have a waifu? You have a waifu? Is that correct? You actually have a waifu? If so, I am very proud of your waifuism. How long have you and your waifu been together? I can't tell if you're kidding or whatever. Okay. Oh, you actually have a waifu. Okay. You know what? I love that for you. I thought you were joking because most people in this hobby are incels. No, they're not. Only I am. I'm a femcel. I'm a proud femcel. Okay. Boyfriend, girlfriend for a while, then partner, perhaps. I'm not getting married. Why aren't you getting married? Do you have something against the institution of marriage? Like, in this day and age, You have something against the institution of marriage? Frankly, it's like, I don't get it. It's very misandrist of you. August babies rise up. Let's see. I use boyfriend, girlfriend, sometimes significant other. Are they significant though? See, the term significant other is like, I've never used significant other before, but it's very interesting because it implies that there are people in your life who are not. I mean, it's true. People in your life aren't significant, but my family's significant. My family's significant to me. My SO, or you guys, you just say SO, like shout out. You don't. There's no shout out command. You say significant other command. Can we get an exclamation SO, significant other? Let's see. Suck about August baby. August 7th babies are excellent pee-pee whackers. Is that true? I think Last Unicorns is also August 7th. And the designer of the what's that board called? Yes, the designer of the Haber's Theseus 75 is also an August 7th baby. Very random fact. Very random fact. Imagine calling your SO partner without hitting 100 consistent viewers. Testy, hello. I hate Kim streams. I'm screenshotting that and sending it to her. I'm screenshotting that. Okay. We need to find out what keycaps to use, okay? I'm just gonna wasabi. Wasabi, zooted.
Christmatin on your items too. Christmatin on your items too. Christmatin on your items too.
I think this one would look good. Where's botanical? How about these 5? I don't know if I have any other that I don't have olive. Please, green base. Bro, I don't have any purple. Okay, wait, hold on. I thought maybe Norse would look kind of good on this. This was it not? It kind of look at this. It kind of matches. That's Norse. I think this foundation would kind of match too. We should get rid of, maybe not use botanical or zooted. I'm gonna grab something purple then. I'm gonna get rid of these 2. Purple? I don't have any like nice purple sets. Maybe like Bingsu? Or like maybe these 2? What is this? This is I don't even remember the names of these fucking keycaps anymore. What is this? Bordeaux? Oh, you know what? I actually think this would look really good. I think that would look really nice. Maybe Bingsu would look nice. I don't fucking know. Should I get rid of wasabi? I think we'll get rid of wasabi. We've used this. Well, I'll grab another purple set. Let's see. Villanelle. I actually think these would look really good. I can't even fucking tell the difference between these sets anymore. They all look the same. They all look the same to me. They're like Asian people. They all look the same to me, you know? Fuck it. I don't even know. Let's just use these, okay? Let's just use these. Here we go. Soundtrack, thank you for the 17 months. I appreciate it. My fellow PP whacker, I appreciate it. Wow, I cannot believe it's 17 months. Oh my god, 17 months of whacking PPs together, you know? We've come a long way, okay? I hate Kim streams. Hello. Shout out. Why are we shouting him out? Can we not? I'm August 4th. Love that. Wait, you're also August 4th? We have 2 August 4th babies? We got 2 August 4th babies. Let me put this let me do a keycaps. We have Villanelle, Bingsu, what the fuck is this? Bordeaux, and then we have Norse and Foundation. Let's do these, okay? I'm gonna do 2 minutes only, okay? 2-minute poll. 2-minute poll, and then I'm gonna do push-ups, okay? Fuck! Okay. Okay, buddy. Here we go, buddy. Oh, God. Okay, what's happening? Okay, please vote on the keycaps. Here are the keycaps. Villanelle. Here are the keycaps. Thank you. Villanelle. Bingsu. Oh fuck. Oh shit. That was a wet one. Oh god, thank you for the stretch. I do need to stretch my holes out. Okay, and then there's Norse. These kind of look nice. The accents kind of match, but I think it's only the accents though. That kind of looks nice too, right? And then of course we have foundation, which is literally the closest thing I have to beige at this point. Puke board? I love this puke board. Okay, what's happening? Fourth is best. Do you like the XG woke up era? When I first listened to the song, I didn't really like it, but then it grew on me a lot. I love XG. I know they know how to rap. I want more like singing songs. Like we all know, like the rap line is like so famous. I kind of want them to do just more like, it's cool that they did a whole rap song. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's cool, but I think they could also, like the vocal line deserves to have their kind of moment as well. So that's my only thought, but I still love Woke Up. Woke Up look like, I actually have not even unboxed my Woke Up album. Should I unbox it and see? Norse won? Oh my god. I'm kind of surprised by that. I'm surprised none of y'all voted for Bordeaux. I'm really surprised. Okay. Color me shocked. Hello, Gawk. The king of gawking is here. I am shocked. I'm shooketh. Okay. What are we doing? Let's see. You're married? You're gay married. Oh my god. Listen. It's so funny because when I think about marriage, I'm like, I don't want to get married. Like, I never want to get married. But then when I think about getting gay married, like if you add gay in front of it, I'm like, I want to be gay married. Like, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. I want to have a wife, you know? But then when I think about like a marriage, I'm like, ew. But then when I think about it, it's like, oh my god, it's like married, but in a gay way. I'm like, yes, I want it, you know? It gets me all giddy. I'm like, oh, I want a waifu. I want a waifu. Shoni's my waifu. I don't like marriage. I don't like divorce. I have no healthy views of my relationship in my childhood, so I never saw that point. The call out. The call out. Let's see. I just say because I like less letters SO. Would be say, oh, my significant. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people say my SO, you know? SO, SO. Okay. I think it's gonna look wonderful. It's gonna look beautiful. It's gonna look great. You know, it's gonna look like the best thing ever. What an extremely quiet board. Very, very quiet. There you go. Does this go here? Bro, this board is fucking quiet. This board is very quiet. OP. No, U goes here. I think I kind of want to change out the spacebar. I'm not gonna lie. As per always, I'm always like constantly, you know, it's constantly, I gotta change out the spacebar. But this is very quiet. This is a very quiet board. Let's see, I just say, oh right, SO. It looks like a hassle, but we never know a good thing. It looks like a hassle, but I never know there are good things to the taxes. Yes, allegedly. Allegedly, taxes are a thing that happen, that occur. Okay? Taxes are something that occur to me. You know, it doesn't occur to me though. Okay, okay. I think Norse is gonna look good, right? It is kind of hard to match this though. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's kind of one of the struggles that I'm kind of struggling. Okay, here. Let's see. Just need to get married to get a tax reduction, green beige or something. This is kind of green beige, right? Like, I'm adding the accent keys, okay? I'm adding the accent keys, okay? Here we go. F. We're hurrying. Okay, so there's another accent, right? Where's the accent enter? Where's the accent enter? Where's the accent? I don't know. Is there an accent? Oh yes, accent enter right here. Is this good? I think that looks pretty nice. There's kind of a lot of colors going on though. Is that okay? Is that all right with you? Is that all right? Okay, B goes here, right? B goes here. 0 goes here. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, please, please, please wait till I can see Nine's reaction to Nightman. What the fuck is Nightman? What is that? Is that something I should know? Is it PG-13? I only need to know things that are PG-13. It's fine, you've worn me down. I hate being the center of detention. No big wedding. Do y'all want to have a big wedding? If y'all get married, do you want to have a big wedding? I'm actually very curious. And am I going to be invited? I really want to, well, actually, no. I've been to some weddings, but they were kind of like mid, not gonna lie. They were kind of, you know, they're kind of eh, you know what I mean? Anyway, what's happening? Nine, can you watch Always Sunny Greatest Hits? The only one I know is that guy like pointing at the thing when it's like the chart with a bunch of strings going around. Bingsu, please the bloopers. We good. What is happening? Just gate T's break the wall. What do you mean break the wall? I'm screaming that. What are you talking about? Are you seeing ATs? Wait, you're in Norway. What's the capital of Norway? You should go see XG. They're going to like somewhere near that area. Is that okay for me to say? Is that okay for me to say? Can I be reverse racist? Okay, anyway, PP Whacker, Hongjong himself will hear me. Is that your bias? Is Hongjong your bias? Not gonna lie, what's his face? Songhua has been fucking has been wrecking me. Listen, he has been serving that, he like kind of slayed. It's kind of his era. He kind of gagged. He kind of gagged and choked. You know what I mean? Anyway, what's happening? What year? Sixes? I don't have sixes. I'm sorry, mummy. Also, I asked you what kind of mounting you wanted, and you didn't answer, so I did both. Is that okay? Is that okay that I did that? Okay, it's too late. It's too late because I'm not gonna listen to you now, because I already did it. Okay, there you go. Oh, wait, there's not a fucking switch here. I'm an idiot. There's not even a How did I miss that? What the fuck happened to this? No one fucking told me? No one fucking told me there's not a switch here. Hold on, I gotta... Here we go. There. There's a switch now. Thank you very much, you guys. I'm September 22nd. You're a Virgo? Where's GMK Olive? Can you buy it for me? Can you buy it for me then? Good work, boss. Thank you, thank you. So strong stretch. Puke board? I think this looks pretty nice. It looks nicer in person, you know? It kind of serves, not gonna lie. Slate the boost mother down. The house boot mother. And mother playing cunt-fied Richter scale. You know what I mean? It really did that. It did that, you know? Let's see. I should ignore my drink reading. Oh, I did! I drank water, bitch! I drank water! You whore. I can call you a whore because you called yourself a whore to me. You say you classified yourself as a whore of all the insults. It's pretty much a hip-hop song rather than pop. Yeah, I mean, see, I love knowing because the fucking vocal line killed the raps. Like the vocal line killed the fucking raps. It's just crazy because Maya is the vocal line. She doesn't even have a rap position. Her visual position is lead vocal, but she's fucking she can do everything. I love her. Anyway, what are we doing? What are we saying? The vocal line killed the raps, and I know the rap line can sing, so it's like, but I do want the vocal line to have more of their time to shine. Like they released individual voxes for the rap line, and then a group rap line. They released individual tapes for the rap line, and they did a rap line tape together. But the vocal line, they only had one together. They didn't have individual ones. So that's like what I'm talking about. You know, we gotta promote the vocal line more. I'm passionate. I'm very passionate about this topic. Okay, I've gone on multiple rants. Okay, never let it go. No, never let it go. Lightning straight to my heart. Oh yeah. I got all the feels for sure, yeah. I got all the feels for ya, boy, yeah, boy, yeah, boy, I know. I know you got the feels, boy, yeah, boy, yeah. Fake fan. What's that? Aboyako? I like the case a lot. What's going on? What about bank account that might work? Oh, bank account? Bank account is too light though. This is what bank account looks like. Sorry, I just like read that. Bank account is like too light. Bank account is, yeah. I feel like this, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Zooted? Listen, I was editing pictures for Zooted or something. I was editing some like green pictures and like it made me want to vomit. Like, I don't know, I'm like, I have a green sensitivity. Do y'all have like sensitivity to colors? Because like, I think green makes me like feel sick. Green makes me feel sick, you know? Let's see. What's happening? You're literally lesbian honey. What the fuck is a lesbian honey? I voted Bingsu. What's happening? Lesbian honey? What the fuck is lesbian? I've never heard of such a thing. They make honey for lesbians? What's happening? All marriage is gay. Thank you. Thank you. You know, when we legalized gay marriage, thanks to Macklemore back in 2015, so huge shout out to Macklemore and his legal team. All marriages became gay. You know, that's why they were so scared of it, because they're like, they're gonna turn us gay. We're gonna be like gay now. You give me the feels, oh, you have stolen my heart. Oh, I am myself a child of cheating. So yeah, the hell, oh my god, you are the product of cheating. You know what? You're the product of a wild love affair. You know, you should characterize it as that. A wild, rabid, just like wham bam. You know, you were just like wham bam. They hammered you out. Anyway, sorry. I don't know if that's appropriate. Okay. I'm EP. Hello, I caught a 9 stream live. This is crazy. Wait, why is it crazy? Hello, I'm EP. Thank you for the first time chat. Hello. How are you? I'm EP. I'm EP. Okay, what's happening? We're missing one thing. What are we missing? This one? Okay, I think we're good. Does that look good? I feel like we should like get rid of this or something. Does that kind of looks out of... No, we need to put something else here. Do we have another like row, whatever? There's something about... Okay, I think I need to get rid of this. Is that okay? Is it okay that I do that? Is there a... Should I put like F escape? Actually, no, I need to... No, this needs to also be just regular. There! I think this looks better. Does that look better? I can't deal with the asymmetry. There's too many colors going on. Actually, do we even change this to just like a normal spacebar? I don't know. Oh, fuck, the entire switch came out. Oh, I was gonna change the switch out anyway. Where's my fucking neon? I had a neon just like sitting here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Should I just like leave it like this? I'm gonna change the spacebar. Should I just like... I don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to think. I think I like it better with no accents. I'm sorry if I misled you. I think I like it with no accents. Is that okay? I don't like accents. I'm very I don't like people with accents. You know? I'm just kidding. I lied. Do you have GMK Snail? I actually don't even know what GMK Snail looks like. Honestly, I'm not up to date on all the keyboard stuff. What's this? Black Snail? It's called GMK Black Snail. What is this? GMK Black. I do not have GMK Black. What is this? Is this not just WOB? What is this? What is GMK Black Snail? Is this not WOB? What is this? Is it, oh, is it like a beige? Like, it's not black, but it's like, it's beige. Oh, it has, oh, wait, it's translucent? What is this? Is this like translucent or something? Like, what is this? The accent keys? Okay, wait, hold up. Black Snail. Novelties kit. I don't know what this is. Hold up. Oh, this is cool though. Is it like transparent? I have no idea. Anyway, Nightman of... Oh, we gotta do typing test prediction. We gotta do typing test prediction. All right, prediction is up. Wait, it's not up yet. I lied. All right, prediction. I'm gonna do 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes for prediction. Typing test prediction. 2 minutes. Thank you for the shout out to Gawk. Nightman's from Only Sunny in California. It's a bit... I don't understand. Charlie Day. How about wedding in a brewery in Connecticut? You and your waifu loving beer and having a wedding in Connecticut is actually extremely gay. That must be one of the gayest things, honestly. Wedding at a brewery. Copenhagen, Denmark. Songhua is serving mother cunt. Yeah, he is serving. I love all the Yunho and Hongjung are my favorite. Woo Young. I love San. Woo San. You know, because they're very hot. Break the Walls in 80s. Oh, I didn't know that. Does GMK Sloth GMK Sloth is from Drifting Bunnies, right? I get that set and GMK Bread confused. I wouldn't want a big wedding, not a small one either, but I also don't want to get married. I'm a Virgo. I'd rather die in a funeral with eyes on me having to do a speech. You can absolutely call me a whore. No one guessed cause cusp. Oh, you're a oh, I didn't know that. What's after Virgo? Cancer? Is Cancer's after Virgo? No, Scorpio. Oh, Libra. Okay, I did not get any of that right. Let me make sure all of the keys work. Let me make sure all the keys work. Yellow because I hate myself. Yes, I also hate myself too. I'm glad we're on the same page, Testy. Let's see. But you like Green Day? I don't love that, but you like Green Day. What makes you think? Why is it weird that I like Green Day? You have a problem? You've got some kind of problem with me, ma'am? Okay, I think all the keys are working. Reset. Okay, there. Yes. Okay, there you go. Why was the waste tears for Zooted? All right, typing test prediction is almost over. Green doesn't have an effect. Oh, okay, yeah, that's why I wanna, oh, lesbian honey, you're literally a lesbian, comma, honey. Okay, I thought you were saying I'm lesbian honey, okay? Why not even love in there? Joke away. Oh no, I think it's funny. What is love in there? What? All right, side cam right here. Oh my god, this board, the color is like, it looks a lot nicer in person. My cameras are just fucked. Is that okay? Let's see what's happening. Oh wait, why am I trying to unplug this? This is already unplugged. Be baby clean. Thank you, Succubell. I think I like how this looks. Oh fuck, Jesus. Libra, all of our self-loathing cancels out to love each other. What are you talking about? Do Libras hate themselves? Is that what you're saying? Is that a Libra trait where they hate each other? Okay, monkey type. Pulling up monkey type now, okay? Monkey type. Okay. Can you keep sounding? My parents did not love each other is what we're talking. Oh, okay. We're talking about they didn't love each other. Okay, your parents didn't love each other. Got it. Noted. Thank you. Thank you for the elaboration. Thank you. Make me rich, Lydia. Let's go. Okay, I'm scared now. I'm scared for my laugh. I'm scared for my laugh is what I'm scared for. My laugh. My laugh. I've noticed some of my words. Do y'all say iron or iron? Iron. I say iron now. Is that weird? Iron? 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 I feel like that's like weird now. I don't know. Okay, let's do this typing test. I say iron. Iron? Okay. Shaker's religion. No, that's not what we want. Okay. Where's monkey type? There you go. Iron. Iron. Americans say mirror. Yeah. Is that what do y'all say? Not mirror? You say I say mirror and iron. Iron. Aaron. Earn and iron. Aaron. Iron. That says iron. Aaron, earn, and iron. Aaron, earn, and iron, earn. I guess it's a common thing. Iron, mirror. Okay. All right, typing test. Anyway, this is the important part. No one cares! Okay, about me. Okay, there you go. Hello, Jack! Welcome in! Can we get a shout out to Jack? Hold on, I'm gonna shout out Jack Pikati right here. Wait, hold on. It says, hold on. Wait, the backspace. The backspace kind of working weird. Jack Pikati, hello! Jack, how are you? Iron. Do you say iron or iron? Okay, you made it just in time because we're about to do our typing test. And after this, we're gonna do a little giveaway for the gay cloth from Canon Keys. We're doing a lot of gay activities here, okay? All right, here we go. Typing test time, okay? This is the Heine, This is the Heine Ladybird. We have GMK Norse on here with Miss Piggy, another linear switch. They call it ALS. It's not, you know, the bucket challenge, not the ice bucket challenge. Miss Piggy switches, and then we have a PC plate. It is top mounted. It is dual mounted. It's top mounted and O-ring mounted because I didn't know what mummy wanted. I didn't know what the client wanted, so I, you know, best of both worlds. And there's no foam. Okay, here we go. Oh, we have a neon space bar, just FYI. Okay. Oh, fuck. Oh, I almost fucked up at the end. This sounds so quiet. The alpha sounds so quiet. But listen, I did it. We did it, Jar. We did it. This sounds so quiet. Of course, we got the neon spacebar, so it's loud. It's basically silent, but the spacebar. Top mounted stiffa, wide stiffa. We gotta suck it real good. You know, there you go. Do y'all like it? Can you comment on the keyboard? Yeah, so hey, Nine, how do you like to feel the keyboard? Yeah, you know, personally, you know, I think it feels really solid. You know, it's a stiff typing feel, but you know, it may change with the gas amount. Hey, Nine, what's your favorite switch? You know, I've been really digging, you know, like HMX switches. You know, I'm on the HMX hype train. Woo woo. And you know, I really, you know, I love neons. You know, I love neons. Hey, Nina, do you think this board is worth the cost? Actually, I don't know how much this board costs. Hey, Nina, is this a client board? Yeah, it's a client board. Yeah, thank you. You know, I'm just like, I feel really important. You know, I feel like my opinion's really valued. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anyway, okay. Oh my God, time to choke. Look at me. Naktam is here. Can we get a shout out to Naktam? Naknussi, the corn guy? Mod for Ariella Studies. Slow down says, you know what, Kev Kobo, you're banned. You're never gonna be a mod, okay? Because L for the haters, exactly. Mayor, one vote is one suck. Vote 9 after town mayor. Why is this? Yeah, it's so quiet. I think these switches are just really quiet. These kind of remind me of like GAT inks. Not that anyone asked. You know, not that anyone asked. You know what I mean? You know, arms need to be floppier to really sell it like this. Who's she talking to? I'm talking to myself, okay? There's a ton of those. All right. Picture. Vomit board. Look at this vomit color. For whatever reason, this actually, for the first time ever, my face camera is more accurate than my top down. For whatever reason. Okay, all my boards sound... Dude, your boards are always... I think it's the switches you use, mummy. Because every time I see your build guide, I'm like, really? Those switches? I'm like, interesting. You know, I haven't heard those switches though. Anyway, there you go. Oh, right, we need the Gamba to pay out. Okay. And we also gotta do marbles. Okay? So let's go back. Okay. Only mods, I will pay you guys out because I am winning. Oh, wait, no, don't do it. I'm gonna exit. Don't play. Okay, I'm gonna choose outcome, 121 or more, who wins? All right, let's do, what map should we do? Death Alley? Are we looking at Death? Let's do Death Alley. Wait, oh, that's the record. Let me see. Let's see, Gurg Splash Tastic Adventure, Hop Jump Skip. Haunted Hills, Hard Landing, because I think we're gonna do Hard Landing because we're hard, okay? Best come up in a while. What does that mean? What do you mean best come up? Oh, you're talking about the poll? Bro, more people! 40k points for 120 or less. Y'all are fucking hating. Y'all are just hating for no reason. Okay, we're giving away the gay, lesbian, transgender, whatever the fuck, the LGBTQ, you know, whatever. You know, whatever. I don't care about the, you know, I do. I care a lot. Anyway, this is what we're giving away. Oh, you can't see it. We're giving away this, okay? Gay cloth. We're giving away gay cloth. You can rub your butthole all over it. No Nums is here. Hello, Pate. Hello, Pate. This is what we're giving away, okay? Here we go. Back to marbles, okay? Exclamation play. I did join. I'm gonna give this 88 seconds, okay? I believed as Nine-Nine's biggest fan. Don't look at all the times I've doubted. I want to know. I wish there was a statistic I could see to see how many people have doubted. No Nums, how are you? How is the Alicia fulfillment? Is it almost done? It's almost done, isn't it? How's the Dia? Okay. All right, exclamation play, everyone. Feel my rhythm. This has a really nice and smooth hole. This is a shaved butthole. A shaved butthole ready to be douche. Oh, DDS Factory had an oopsie. That's why. So we did. Oh, I think I saw that announcement. That's probably why I saw that announcement. They had a little oopsie. You know, why is it dark though in the middle? They like make it darker in the middle. Anyway, shaved booty. I can't see the shaved booty. Shaved booty was a fucking auto modded term. I need to just turn off auto mod at this point. Diapodos are real, very sexy. I want to look at the board that was designed named after me. Did you design it after my curves? Are the side curves basically shaped after my body? I hope so. It's like 50-50 when I suck, I doubt. When you're good, I believe. Man, please do it. Oh, I'm sorry. I really, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, 10 more seconds. Should I wait at the end? Ooh, I'm sorry. Okay, I shouldn't do this. Hold on, I gotta get real low. I wanna go up because I think you can like actually go up like this. Like you can actually go up this way. All right, 1. Whoa! Let's go! Oh, they're going down. Look, I'm POV. You're one of the balls. I'm also racing. This is POV. You're like on the racetrack. I'm making this a very, very, very interactive and immersive experience. Okay, I'm trying to give y'all the best experience. Okay, you guys are just circling. You guys are circling. Who's gonna come down the hole? You guys are circling. You guys are still circling. We're still circling. Okay, we're still circling here. People are still circling. How long is this fucking circling? Jesus, just fucking go down. Just fucking go down already. Where am I? Where the fuck? Oh wait, it's how are y'all still fucking circling? It's like I'm there, thank you. POV or sperm trying to find the egg. Balls. I feel like I'm there, thank you. I do strive for the most immersive experience. Okay. Here, who's coming down? We're coming out. Look, I'm like Stubby. Look, I'm also racing. Whoa, am I gonna beat Stubby? Oh no, people are catching up to me. Oh no, there's bumps. Oh no, there's bumps. I might be too slow. Oh no, Stubby's in the lead right now. Oh no, but I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna catch up. Oh, he took flight. And I'm flying too, but there's so many people ahead of me. There's so many people. Oh, am I gonna make it? I just made it. Zoom. Oh, there's so many people ahead of me. I gotta go faster. I gotta go. Oh, I'm almost caught up with Stubby Cone. Oh my god. I'm catching up. Oh my god, it's me versus Stubby Cone. Oh my god, Starsky came from nowhere. I gotta catch up. Oh my god. Wait, I'm in the lead right now. There's people behind me. I'm in the lead. I think I'm gonna win this. Oh my god. It's anyone's game at this point. Oh, fuck. These bumps are too bumpy. There's too bumpy. Oh god, Nana Gogo's in the... No way, I'm in the lead. I'm actually in the lead right now. Oh my god, what happens if I win? What happens if I win, though? I didn't say what happens if I win. I'm like winning. I'm racing against myself. Oh no, I got stuck. Step bro, I got stuck. Come on, go for it. Come on. No! Come on! Oh no, you did not. I died. Oh fuck. Who's winning? Who's gonna win? Socks! Came out of fucking nowhere. Socks! Wait, you're overseas, right? Do you clam this? Do you clam the ship? Socks for the gays, gay for the socks. Cox, do you clam? Clam. No, you guys, I didn't, what? I thought you're the US? Wait, why do you say good morning to me? Where are you? Are you in like Alaska? Why do you say good morning to me then? Why did I think you were in Korea this entire time? Clam? He does clam. Congratulations. You've been eliminated because it's always more. I thought you were like in Asia this whole time. Cause you always say good morning. I was like, you're in Korea. I don't know why I just assumed you're in Korea. Anyway, congratulations, Socks. Unborn, welcome in. Welcome in, Unborn. We just are about to end stream, okay? Good mornings on Discord is a bit... It's not a bit, it's real. It's very real. Emiphobia is literally on Central Time, like US Central Time. Okay, congratulations, Socks. Clam. Please check your, Nox will DM you the winner form, okay? If you don't get the giveaway form, just DM me on Discord. It's just Night Go. I'm gonna have a great... Oh, wait. Oh, why does that have... What? Wait, what? Why is it... When I press enter, it does the smiley. What? No, dead ass. Like, look, I'm literally just pressing enter. No! I'm just pressing enter! What is happening? Okay, there's something up with this. I'll fix it later, okay? I'm not gonna do it on stream because, you know, obviously I hate you guys. How did we stream for 2 hours, bro? I thought column is shorted. Okay, I think I need to pull this out. I think I did notice that this was like, it was very close to the bottom, so I think I need to adjust it or something. Anyway, okay, we are done with the stream, okay? So, thank you all very much for joining. Thank you very much, Mummy. I will try to figure out this issue. I think it's just the PCB sitting way too close to the bottom. That's why I top mounted it too. Maybe we just need to switch to a full top mount. I don't know. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining the stream. I appreciate it. I thought I maybe wasn't gonna stream today, but I did. I'm not gonna be streaming on Monday. I actually will not be streaming on Monday. Yes, that's actually what I was gonna do as a raid message. So I won't be streaming on Monday, but I will be streaming next Thursday. So I'm gonna be without y'all. I'm gonna be without you guys for a week. I hope you guys can handle it, okay? Behave, please behave. That means she's really gonna stream. I will be in Dallas whacking PP, okay? I'll be in Dallas whacking PP. There you go, okay? That's the raid message. Oh, wait. Oh, we gotta find someone to raid. We gotta find someone to raid. We gotta find someone to raid real quick. Let's see. Who is on right now? Who is Balev? Whack his damn PP. Whack that PP caca hard, okay? Let's see. Who's doing keyboard stuff? Looks like Alex is building and then also Kim. Let's go to Kim. Let's go to Kim. Let's go to Kim. Raid, Kim, Lin, Wen. Let's go to Kim. All right. Wait, hold on. I need to. Okay. All right. Raid to Kim has been created. Okay. Copy that raid message. Copy that raid message. Okay. Copy raid message. Oh, God. My computer is fucked up, but copy that raid message. Okay. There you go. Enjoy Kim's stream, everyone. Okay. Enjoy. All right, I will see y'all on no, not Monday. I lied. I will see y'all on Thursday next week. Okay, mwah! I love you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bye.